2, this is for questions 13 to 21. Question 13, simplify this one here. Okay, now we need to get the LCM. This 2m can go into 8m. Okay, so we can say this is 8m. Now 8m divided by 2m, you get 4, not so? Then 4 times 7. 4 times 7. Then 8m divided by 8m, you get 1. Then times 3. That will be a 3. So plus 3. Then times a 1. Then this is 28, not so? Plus 3. Don't you get 31 out of 8m? So that is going to be our answer. 31 out of 8m. Then question 14, part A. Carlos invests $24,000 at a rate of 3.2% per year compound interest. Calculate the value of his investment at the end of 4 years. You know that amount is equal to the principal into 1 plus r out of 100, then to the power of t. So the principal is $24,000. And then this is 1 plus, the r is 3.2, which is out of 100, and then the t is a 4 here. So we shall get the 24,000, then 1 point, is 100, then plus the 3.2, that's 103.2. So divide by 100, that will be 103.2. So divide by 100, you move 1 2, so it becomes 1.032, then power 4. Then we put this one in the calculator and then we get our answer. So what do we get? 24000, then into 1.032, then to the power of 4. That is 27222, then 0.6 whatever. And then I can round this one off maybe to the nearest dollar. Okay, and then we get 27222. I mean maybe to 27223. So I'll have 272, then 2, and then 3. Then I'll say to the nearest dollar. Okay, you can round off to the nearest cent. You know that 1 cent is equivalent to 1 out of $100, because $1 is equivalent to 100 cents. So this one is the same as 0.01. That means to 2 decimal places. Okay, then we would write it as 27,222, then and 63 cents. So we get 63 answer. So we can say or 2722.63. That one there. So, but in the exam, don't write this. You just write one answer. You see that? Either this one or that one, like that. Then part B, Carlos buys a painting for X dollars. He sells the painting for $40,870. He makes a profit of 34%. Calculate the value of his profit. Now, what we are going to do here is to get, because the profit is an increment. Okay, so the profit on the 100%, okay, or maybe let's say X here, okay, then plus the profit. The profit is going to be 34% of what he bought it for. You get it? Then this one will give us the 870. That's what it will be. You get your cost price, then times 34% of it, you add it on your what? Cost price, then you sell it for that. You see that? So we need to get the value of X here. So what do? If I factorize out the x, you'll have 1 then plus 34 out of 100. So another person can do that. The increment in percentages, then I'll say 1 then plus the 34. Or another one can say 100 then plus that 34. Because it is a profit, then divide by 100. If it were a loss, then we would put a minus. You see that? So it's the same thing here. Now let's go and then we get this x here. So this one is equal to 40 and then 870. So our x here is going to be equal to 40, then 870, but we can divide by, this is the same as 1.34, okay? 1.34. Then what do we get here? First of all, 40, 870, then divide by 1.34. That one gives us 3,500. 30, then 500. Okay, then after that, we need to calculate the value of the profit. So the profit, because this one here is the cost price, okay? So the profit is going to be equal to 34% of this one here, 3,500. So what do we get? So what we have gotten here, we shall multiply it by 34%, which is 0.34. That is $1,370. Then part C, Carlos also buys a car with a value of $32,500. The value of the car decreases exponentially by 23% each year. Find a formula for the value V of the car at the end of any years. Okay, so just like here in compound interest, so for what is increasing exponentially, we put a plus, okay? Then what is decreasing, even here, this one was increasing, so we put a plus. Then for the one that is decreasing, we put a what? A minus. So V is going to be equal to that value 32500. Then we put 1 minus the 23 out of 100, then power n. And of course, this one simplifies to, so multiply here. You get 100 minus 23, that is 77, not so? Then divide by 100. So we shall get 32500, then times 0.77, then power n. So that will be that. Question 15. The diagram shows a field ABCD in the shape of a quadrilateral. BD is the straight path across the field. Calculate the length BC, B to C. You know, for triangles which are not right angled, we either use sine rule or cosine rule. Now, since this one is known and this one is known, then this one is not known, but the angle that is opposite to it is known, then we use the cosine rule. Okay, so using the cosine rule, then BC squared is equal to this squared plus this squared minus 2 times this, then cosine of that. Okay, so we shall have 300 squared, then plus 112 squared minus 2 times 300 times 112, then the cosine of 140. So that means our BC is going to be equal to the square root of whatever we are having here. So let me just slide this one down here. Just like that. Then you press everything in the calculator and then you write your answer to 3 significant figures. Now your calculator must be in degrees. Remember that if it is in the radian mode, on the gradient mode, then you are going to get wrong answers. So let's put square root of 300 squared plus 112 squared and then minus. Now we have 2 times 300 times 112, then the cosine of 140 then we close, and then we close. That is 392. And the rest of those figures, to 3 significant figures, I'll write 392, not so. 392. That is 3 significant figures. Then part B, calculate the angle DBC. So where is DBC? DBC. Since I know this one here and its opposite angle, then I can find this angle by looking at also its opposite side. Okay, so I will use the sine rule. Okay, so I will say sine of this angle DBC, then out of the side that is opposite to the angle, which is 112, then is equal to sine of now another angle whose opposite side is also known. So the angle is 140, then divide by now the BC, which we have gotten here as 392. So I can take that 392, or I can add on the points. Okay, now to avoid, let's say, errors, maybe to get the accurate answer, since this one is a rounded one, okay, let me add like 4 decimal places. Okay, so when I come back here to check, there is 0.4566. 0.4566. See that? Then let's make this one the subject of the formula. So you cross multiply, and then we shall have, let me just reproduce this one here like that. Then I take away these 2. Then I'll put this 112 here. Okay, so shift the 112, and then I will put it here. So 112, and then our angle DBC then will be equal to the arc sine of everything that we are having here, as simple as that. Then we press this in the calculator, and then we write our answer to 1 decimal place, because this is an angle in degrees. Arc sine of, we have 112, then sine of 140, then we divide by 392.4566. Then we get 10.57, but then we shall write 10.6. So this will be 10.6 degrees. That is to 1 decimal place. But see, the total area of the field ABCD is 35,900 meters squared. Work out the length of the shortest distance from D to AB. Now from D to AB, let's check here. This line here must be perpendicular. Okay, all of these ones that are not perpendicular to AB, they are going to be a little bit longer. Okay, so that length has to be perpendicular to AD. So I'll do something like that, but I'll make this one dotted because it wasn't given in the diagram. Okay, so we shall have, we need to get this height here. So remember, they said we work out the length of the shortest distance from D to AB. Now we can find this angle here. Okay, so if we are getting the total area of this field, the first thing we are going to do, because we need this angle to find this. Okay, since this one is a right angle triangle, then we can use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, like sine of this one is equal to the opposite, then out of the hypotenuse. You get that? But we don't have this angle. However, they gave us the total area. Total area of the field is going to be area of this triangle, then plus area of this triangle. You see that? And then since these triangles are not right angled, to get the area of the triangle, which is a half, then times the side you know, times the side you know, then sine of the angle that is in between. So don't you think by using that we shall get the theta? Okay, so now let's go and do that. So they said area of ABCD is going to be equal to a half. No, let's say it is equal to area of which triangles? We have ABD, that is ABD, then plus area of the other triangle. Which one is it? It is CBD. CBD. Now this one is given as 35,900, and then area of ABD will be a half, then times a half times what we have here, 180 and then 300. So we shall have 180 degrees, then times the 300, then sine of theta. Area of CBD, we have a half times this, then sine of 140, not so? So a half, then times the 300 times 112, sine of 140, sine of 140 degrees. Now we make actually sine theta the subject of the formula, okay? We don't need to get the theta, because in here I will also need the sine theta, so I can use the exact value of that. You get it? Okay, so what do we get here simplified? A half of 180 is a 90, so 90 times the 300, that is 27,000. So we have 35,900, then this is 27,000, and then sine of theta, then plus, how about this one simplified? So this is 150, then times 112. 150 times 112, we get 16,800. 16,800. Then sine of 140 degrees. So you make sine theta the subject to the formula. Bring this one this side, then divide all through by that, not so? So we have 35,900 minus 16800 sine of 140 degrees, then we divide by this 27,000, then this one will be equal to our sine of theta. Okay, now so using now SOHCAHTOA, using SOHCAHTOA, because we have a right angled triangle, sine of theta is equal to our h, then out of 300. You remember? Sine of theta is equal to the opposite, which is h, then out of the hypotenuse. So that means h is going to be equal to 300, then times the sine of what? Theta. Then from there, this means that we shall have 300, then times, you bring this whole thing here, we have gotten, and then put it inside here. Then we press everything on the calculator, and we get our answer to 3 significant figures, not so? So what do we get here? 300 into, then here we have 35,900 minus 16800 sine of 140, then down here we are having 27000, and we can close, then equals. So to 3 significant figures, that will be 279. 279. That is to 3 significant figures, and that is that. Question 16. The histogram shows information about the masses of some coconuts. The masses are classified into 4 categories, A, B, C, and D. Then part A show that there are 10 coconuts in category D. Now here we are seeing frequency density. Now when we are plotting the histogram, this is what you must know. You have to look at the class widths. If the class widths are the same, okay, then we plot here, we put frequency, then against the class boundaries. If the class widths are different, then we plot frequency density against the class boundaries. So how do we get the frequency density? We get frequency okay, then divide by the class width. Is that clear? So the fact that here they have the frequency density, then they used what? The class widths are not the same. You can even see from 0.9 to 1.1 is not the same as this one here, not the same as this one, not the same as this. Just look at the widths of these bars. So they are not the same, right? Now, let's look at frequency. Frequency density is equal to the frequency, then divide by the class width. Now, if they say that show that there are 10 coconuts in category D, so we are looking for the frequency, okay? Now, in category D, so what is this one here? If I try to zoom a bit, this one here, let me again zoom, it is above, it is above this line here. So it's not that exact, okay? Now let us look at the equivalence of a small box. So for the horizontal axis, let's look at the vertical axis. One small box is equivalent to, here they are adding 50 every now and then, so that is 50. What did I write here? For vertical axis, one small box is equivalent to 50. Then divide by how many small boxes do we see here? There are 10. That means each of them is equivalent to 5. And then for the horizontal axis, one small box is equivalent to, they are adding on 0.1 every now and then. So 0.1 divide by, but these are 10, 10. Okay, these are 5 and then 5. So divide by 10, that means we are getting 0.01. Now, where are we? So the frequency density here for category D, we are having, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? Then 8, maybe you can see that this one is a quarter of the small box. What do I mean by a quarter? Let me zoom again, okay? Could it be a quarter? Because a half will be here. So how about this one, which is slightly above? Can we say that is maybe 0.2? Now, our frequency here is going to be equal to frequency density then times the class width. So what is the class width? It is this one. So it is going to be 1.6. Then we subtract. This is 1.35, not so? And that's 1.35. Then times. First of all, what do we get here? 1.6 minus 1.35. You get a quarter, or 0.25, not so? So this is 0.25. Then times what? Then gives us a 10. We have to multiply by, when you multiply this one by 4, you get a 1. Then to get a 10, that means it has to be 40. So that means here we are multiplying by what? By 40. So I'll say times 40 here to give me the what? The 10, like that. So this is 40. So that means now, based on what they said, this line probably was drawn wrongly. It would have been here on this line here for us to get the exact 40, but it is slightly above, you know. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 35, 40. You see that? Then 45 and 50. So I'll go with that. I'm not going to add on any maybe point something here. I'll just take the 40 so that I get an exact answer as well as 10. You see that? All right, then next, part B, 2 of the coconuts from those in category C and D are chosen at random. Find the probability that both are from category D. Now, from category D, we are seeing how many people are there. They are 10. Okay, so we are getting 10. Okay, 10. Then out of the total, when you pick from C and D, so you need to first get also the number of people in, the number of coconuts. So let's say coconuts in category C. In category C, remember we are getting the frequency, so it's a matter of getting the area of that of that bar. So what do we have here? This is 1.25. Okay, so that is 1.25, but then we are subtracting what? This is 1.35. 1.35 minus 1.25. I'm getting this distance here. Then we multiply by this one here. So this one corresponds to 100. Remember, each small box is equivalent to 5, and these ones are 4 here. So 55, 60, 65, 70. Okay, so that will be 170. Then times 170. 1.35 minus 1.25, isn't that 0.1? Then times the 17. 170. So what do we get? Isn't that a 17? Yes, that is a 17. 17. Then, so our probability will be 10, because they are the ones that are coming from D. Then divide by the total, which is 10 plus the 17. Okay? In fact, let me write it like this. Total number of coconuts. Remember, they are saying 2 of the coconuts from those in category C and D. So our sample space is in C and D. Not all of them. You see that? So total number of coconuts in C and D shall be equal to 10, then plus the 17. Then this one gives us what? 27. Not so? 27. So then our probability here, probability, will be equal to 10, then divide by the total, which is 27. So remember, you are picking 2. This is the first picking. You get a D, then not a D. Then you pick again, you get a D, then not a D. A D, not a D. So we are having, in fact, let me make it look much better. So we are having a D here, and then not a D, then a D here, then not a D. Of course, if you are not getting a D, then you are getting a C, not so. So can I maybe modify it just like that? You're getting a C, then D, then C, then D, then C. So how many do we have in D? They are 10. Then out of the 27, that is the probability of picking a D at first. Not so. 10 out of 27. Then when you pick here, they have not told you that they are picking with replacement or not, but that is picking without replacement. So you pick one, then after you pick another. So that means when we pick the first one, we are going to remain with 9. Are we there? And then the total has also reduced by 1. So we shall have 26 here. So the probability of picking another D from there will be 9 out of 6. I'm not going to finish all of these because they just want all of them from D. So that means I'm going to have probability of D, then D shall be equal to 10 out of 27, then times 9 out of 26. And then we press this in the calculator, and then we write the simplified answer. So what do we get? 10 out of 27 times 9 out of 26. This one gives us 5 over 39. 5 out of 39. So you can give this one in decimals, or you just multiply this and then you say 90 out of this times that, whatever. But this one is the simplified one. And it is always good to write the simplified answers. Then part C, calculate an estimate of the mean mass of the coconuts. So we know that mean is equal to summation of fx divided by the summation of f, but we need to find all the midpoints. We need to find the x as the midpoint, and then also the frequencies. You see that? So how do we get the remaining frequencies? So the remaining frequencies here, for this one it will be 0.9, 1.1 minus the 0.9, then times what is here. Then also here minus this one, then times that. You get that? Now, let me write something here. I think better. For category A, the frequency there is equal to 1.1, then minus the 0.9, then times, what do we have here? These are how many small boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 5. That will be 30, not so? So times 30, then we get something there. Then for category B, we also do the same. We have 1.25 minus the 1.1. The frequency here is 1.25 minus 1.1. Then we multiply this one by the height of the bar here. It's just 100. So times 100. Okay, so what do we get here? I think this is 0.2 times 30. 2 times 30 is 60. So 0.2 then will be a 6. So we have a 6 here. And then here, what do we have? 1.25, then we put 1.1. So this will be a 5, and then a 1, and 0. So 0.15 times 100, that will be a 15. So we shall have a 15 here. Then what else do we have? Remember, we have a 6 here, then this is a 15, and then we got a 17. A 17 for category C, and then a 10 for category what? D. Okay. Now, mean is equal to summation of fx out of summation of f. Now, we shall have our f, the first one here for A is a 6, then times what will be the x, the mean value. You get this plus this, divide by 2. Are we there? So 1.1, then plus what? 0.9, then divide by 2. That is that. Then plus, the next one will be 1.25 plus this one over 2. But the frequency for B is 15, then times 1.25? Yes, 1.25, then added to 1.1 divided by 2. Then next, we are having 1.35 and 1.25. So the frequency for C, it is what? 17. Okay, so we have 17, then into 1.25 added to 1.35, then divided by 2. Is it the one? Yes, and then lastly, we have the frequency for D is here, 10. So 10, then times, we have 1.35 added to, the last one is what? Is 1.6. 1.6, then divided by 2. Then this whole thing, we divide it by the summation of F. Okay, so we sum up all the frequencies. Did they talk about the totals here? No, they never. So let us just say 6 plus 15 plus 17, then plus 10. No. Yes, 10. Then I'm going to put everything in the calculator and I get my answer. So let's see. 6 divided by 2, that is a 3. Then times 1.1 plus 0.9. Then plus 15 over 2, that is 7.5. Then times, when you add the other two, 1.25. Then 1.1. Then plus 17 out of 2. Isn't that 8.5? 8.5. Then inside here, when you add, won't that be 2.6? Yes, 2.6. Then next plus 10 divided by 2, that is a 5. Then times, that will be 2.95. Then down here, we are having 6 plus 15 plus 17 plus 10. Then we get that. And then to 3 significant figures, it is going to be 1.26. 1.26. That is 3 significant figures. Question 17, expand and simplify. So what we are going to do, we can either first expand these two, and then after we multiply with this, or you can expand these two, then after you multiply by this. But again, there are those who are so special, they can get this one, then they multiply with this one first, and then after they multiply with that. It's all the same. Multiplication is commutative. I'm going to get these first two, okay? So we have x minus 2, then times 2x plus 3. So whatever is in the first bracket has to multiply with whatever is in the second bracket. So minus a 2, then times 2x plus 3. And so, now let's multiply. So this will be 2x squared, then plus 3x, then minus 4x, and then minus 6. Simplified, it will be 2x squared minus x minus 6. So meaning x minus 2 times 2x, then plus 3. Okay, this one here times also the x plus 4, then will give us what we have gotten here. Okay, then times the x plus 4. Okay, so that means I will have the 2x squared, times the x plus 4. I will get minus x times the x plus 4. Whatever is in the first bracket has to multiply with whatever is in the second bracket. Clear? Then this times also that. Minus 6, then times x plus what? 4. Okay, then what do we get here? When we multiply, we get 2x cubed, then plus 8x squared minus x squared minus 4x. Remember, the negative affects whatever is inside here. Then minus 6x, then minus the 24. So simplified, it will be 2x cubed. This one will give us 7. So plus 7x squared. This one will give us a minus 10. Minus 10x, then minus the 24. As simple as that. Then question 18 is coming from vectors. In the diagram, OA is parallel to CB. That means these two can be expressed in terms of each other. Okay. OA is A, then OB is B, but then OA to CB, O to A, okay, then to CB is a ratio 4 to 3. Find AB in terms of A and B. So AB is AO plus OB, but AO, you are moving in the negative direction of OA, you see? So that means you will have B minus the A. So I have always said that if you're looking for AB, what you do, you get the last minus the first, okay? So that is OB, because for it remains positive as you are moving here, like that, then minus OA. We are subtracting OA because we are moving in the negative direction of what? Of the OA. As simple as that. Okay, so our OB is a B, our OA is an A, so we shall put B minus A. Okay, then next, part B. M is the midpoint of OC. M is the midpoint of OC. So I can put M here. Then find A to M in terms of A and B. So A to M, I will say AO plus OM. So AM then shall be equal to OA. No. AO is AO then plus OM. You see that? But this OM is a half of OC. Okay? A half of what? OC. Now, how do we get the OC? We can get OC from here. O to A plus AB, then plus BC. Are we there? Okay. Now let me take this one down here. I will need it later. So we need to find what? Let us begin from this ratio here. So OA out of CB will be equal to 4 out of 3. So when we cross multiply, then we shall have 3OA, then is equal to 4CB. Are we there? So meaning C to B, this vector CB is equal to 3 out of 4. You can put on vectors, you can leave them as lengths, whatever. Then 3 out of 4 of OA. So that is 3/4 of A. Okay? That is our CB. They are scalar multiples. Okay? For parallel vectors, they are said to be parallel if they are scalar multiples of each other. So we have found this one here. We also have our AB. Now, so we need OC. Now, OC shall be OA plus AB plus B what? BC plus BC. Do we have OA? Yes. Do we have AB? Is this one. B minus A. Do we have BC? If we have CB, then we have BC. So it will be negative of that. So negative 3 out of 4 of A. Check the direction from C to B. Now here you are saying BC. So you are moving in the negative direction. Okay, then let us simplify this one here. Of course, A disappears. So you get B here minus 3 out of 4 of A. Okay. Now, of course, when we are writing vectors, we put these wavy lines on these colors, okay? On those letters, because for us, we cannot write them bold. You'll be writing A, then you make it bold like that. You continue. You'll be wasting time and it even looks ugly, okay? So you just write the A, you put a wavy line. Then next, what is our AM? AO, remember, is the negative of OA. So that is negative A, then plus. OM is a half of OC. Not so. O to M is a half of this OC, because they said that M is the midpoint of OC. Is that clear? Now let's proceed. So we shall have this one is negative, that, then plus a half of our OC is B here, minus 3/4 of A. So you have negative A here, then plus a half of B, then minus 3/8 of A. You see? And then here I can simplify 8 times this. So you get negative 8 minus 3, you get negative 11. So we shall get negative 11 out of 8 of A, and then plus a half of B. So plus a half of B. As simple as that. Question 19. Solve the simultaneous equations. You must show all your working and give your answers correct to 2 decimal places. So this one is non-linear, and then this is linear. So when we are solving these ones, we use substitution. Okay? So I equate the 2, in other words, for this case. So we have 3x squared, then minus. So I'm getting the whole of this, and then I'm placing it here. Minus 7x minus 6. This one will be equal to 5, then minus 2x. Bring everything onto one side and then form a quadratic equation. So this will be 3x squared minus 7x minus 6 minus 5. This one is a negative. When it crosses, it's a positive, right? Then plus the 2x, which is equal to 0. So we have 3x squared, then minus 7 plus 2. That one will give us a minus 5x. And then this one will give us minus what? 11, which is equal to 0. The fact that they have told us to give our answers to 2 decimal places, okay, that simply implies that you cannot factorize such an equation. Okay, so you use the quadratic formula. So you know that x is equal to minus b, so it will be minus, our b is this one here. Now there is a mistake done here, and they always like those numbers where there is a minus here, because students always mess here. It's minus b, then plus or minus to the root of b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. That is the quadratic one formula. Now when you're substituting, there is a minus already here, and then there is the b. Your b here is the what? Is a negative. So first of all, our a is 3, our b is negative 5, and then our c is negative 11. Then plus or minus to the square root of b, which is a minus 5, put it in brackets and then square. Because in the calculator, let's say you are putting this one here, it will give you negative 25. But you know that you are getting negative 5 times negative 5, which has to give you what? A positive. So you have to be very careful. Then minus 4 times our a, which is a 3, times the c, which is negative 11. You see that? Then we divide by 2 times our a, which is a 3. So a negative and a negative, that one becomes a positive. And then plus or minus, this is 25. Then a negative and a negative, that's a positive. So we shall add here. You have 12 here times 11. So 12 times 11, that is 2, then 1, then 2, then 1. So when we add these, we shall get a 2, then a 3, and then a 1. So it is 1, 3, 2. Then after that, what else? Down here, we are having a 6. So 1x value is 10, then plus the square root. What do we get here? You added 2 and a 3, that will be a 5, and then a 7. So 157. Then out of the 6, Then the next x value is when you take the minus. So you will have 10, then minus the square root of 157 out of 6. So we need to get now the y values, okay? So the y value here is going to be, now I can substitute in this one here, okay? Better to substitute in the equation of the line than the curve. So that will be 5, then minus 2, then times what we are having here as the x, like that. Then y2 shall be this one here, like that. But where there is a minus, I mean a plus here, I put a what? A minus. Now let's put in the calculator. We write 2 decimal places here and also here. Now they have given us the degree of accuracy, which is 2 decimal places, and it is strictly 2 decimal places. So if you give something other than this, you're gone. Excuse me, how did I write a 10 here? This one is supposed to be a 5. Oh my god. Sorry for that. Minus of minus 5 gives us what? A positive 5. Okay? Positive 5, then positive 5, then here, and then here. So let's put in the calculator and we get that. 5, then plus the square root of 157, then down we have a 6. Then this one gives us in decimals 2.92. Okay? This one here is 2.92. Now I'll come to this one and then I say 5 minus twice that. Not so? That one then gives us negative 0.84. Negative 0.84. Then here we shall get, so I'll come to this and then I'll just go to where there is this plus and I put a minus there, and so then this one will give us 7.51. This one will give us 7.51. Then how about this? I'll just come here and then I take off this like that. Then the value of x here is negative 1.25. Negative 1.25. So that is what I'll write down here. Be careful when you are writing your answers. X here is 2.92. The other x value, negative 1.25. Do not write this one here. Okay? Please. Many students mess up here when they're writing these values. Then y, the y value here is the one that corresponds to this value, and that is the one here, which is negative 0.24. And then this one here is 7.51, and that is that. Question 20. A solid metal prism has a mass of 4810 grams, correct to the nearest 10 grams. Okay, the density of the metal is 7.7 grams per cubic centimeters, correct to 1 decimal place. Calculate the lower bound for the volume of the prism. Okay, volume, you should know that from here, the volume is going to be, because you have density is equal to mass over volume. Then now when you cross multiply, you have rho v, then is equal to m, then the volume will then be mass over the density, not so? So volume shall be equal to mass, then out of the density. So if I want the lower bound of the volume lower bound, then I have to get the mass here, its lower bound, then I get the density here, its upper bound. Okay, you get something small, then divide by something big, you get something small. You see that? So that is what we are supposed to have there. Let me make this one better. Lower bound. Sometimes I have always used V minimum. you'll get m here has to be minimum, then divide by this one has to be maximum. A small thing divided by a very big thing, you get a very big, a very small thing, right? Then let's go. So we need to get the lower bound for the mass and then the upper bound for the volume. Now, since this one here, the mass is correct to the nearest 10 grams, that means the error bound for mass shall be equal to, you get this 10 here, you divide it by 2, so that will be 5. What do we mean by this? You are having something like this. This is 4810. The next one in line will be 4820, not so? Then the one before will be 4800. But now, this one begins in the middle here and then ends there. You see? So here we go 5 units, and then here we also go 5 units. Do you see that? We are going 5 this way and then also this other side. So when I say error bound for the mass is 10 out of 2 and then we say 5, that is what I mean. Go 5 this way, go 5 this way. So you will be in the region of the nearest 10. Does that make sense? So that means the mass lower bound then shall be equal to this one which you have, 4810, then subtract the 5, and that will be 4805. Is that clear? Then we have the density. Density here is correct to 1 decimal place. So if it is correct to 1 decimal place, we can have something here like this, and we have the 7.7. Then here 7.8, and then here 7.6. This one also starts in the middle here and then ends here. So we are going, a decimal place is 0.1. So divide it by 2, you go 0.05. Also here 0.05. So we shall say that the error bound for density is equal to 0.1 divided by 2, which is 0.05. That means the upper bound for the density is going to be 7.7, then plus the 0.05. Okay, and then you get 7.715. Now we substitute here. This one we have gotten it as 4805. Then we are dividing by 7.75. So when we put this one in the calculator, what do we get? 4805 divided by 7.75. We get 620, and it is exact. Then question 21 is coming from variations. Y is inversely proportional to the square of x plus 2. W is proportional to x. When y is equal to 8, x is equal to 3.5. When w is equal to 15, x is equal to 90. Find y in terms of w. We have two scenarios here. The first one is y is inversely proportional. So we write 1 out of. If they had said is proportional to this or directly proportional to this, then we would write the x plus 2 here squared. But it is inversely proportional. That means we put 1 over this one here. So meaning when y increases, then this one decreases. Okay? When this one increases, then y has to reduce. You see that? Then we remove the proportionality sign here by putting a constant, a proportionality constant. So that will be k, then out of x plus 2 squared. I can cross multiply, and then we have y, then x plus 2 here squared will be equal to k. Now they gave us these two. So these two are going to help us to find the value of k such that we get the relationship between y and what? And x. Is that clear? So we have y is equal to 8, then x is equal to the 3.5. Now 8 here times 3.5, then plus the 2 squared, then we get k. So what is k here? 8 into 3.5 plus 2, that is 5.5, then squared, we get 242. So 242, we keep that. So that means y shall be equal to 242 divided by the x here plus 2 squared. I'm just substituting here. Okay, I can keep that. Then we go to the second scenario. They say w is proportional to x. So w is proportional to x. Now you see that this one is direct. Okay, so w here, we remove the proportionality sign, we put a constant. Okay, I'm going to use another constant, but still you can use k if you want. Then I'm going to put which constant? Maybe beta, beta x. Then from here, we need to get the value of beta. So beta shall be equal to w out of x. Then we have w and x connected. So when w is equal to 15, then x is equal to 90. So we have a 15 here, divide by 90, which is the beta. And then our beta here is going to be 15 goes into 96 times. So that will be 1 out of 6. So meaning w shall be equal to 1. Okay, I'm putting 1 out of 6 then of x. Okay, 1 out of 6 of x. So I have these two here. They said we find y in terms of w. So that means where there is x here, I should put a w. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is to say my x is going to be equal to 6w. Are we there? So this therefore implies that y shall be equal to 242. Then we divide by where there is x, I'm putting 6w. So 6w, then plus a 2, and then we square that. You see? And I think this is going to be our answer. There's nothing else. And that is what we are having there.